Hello, everybody. Busch Bavarian, America's most refreshing beer, presents Joe Garagiola and Wrestling at the Chase. Brought to you every Saturday at 9 and Wednesday at 8 for your enjoyment. No doubt about it, you can't beat fun. Fun and Busch Bavarian. So lift a snow-cooled glass while you enjoy the show.
Good evening, SICW fans. I'm here for the Sunday night update with promoter Herb Simmons. Herb, we are back and better than ever. It's great to have you in the chair next to me. Little new start to tonight's show to kind of bring back some of the history of Wrestling at the Chase. Bring that back into our Sunday night shows.
Well, Anheuser-Busch, as we've talked about many times, one of the main sponsors for a long time for Wrestling at the Chase. And so we had that clip in the archives, and we just wanted to kind of keep that out there for you fans to kind of let you remember that's what SICW is all about, is keeping that rich history of Wrestling at the Chase alive back in the days of Joe Garagiola when he started the play-by-play announcing at Wrestling at the Chase, being sponsored by Anheuser-Busch. So we thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely great thing there to see and bring back the great history of professional wrestling. What's being carried on today by SICW? The fans are already on here welcoming you back. It's great to have you in the seat next to me. You threw me a curveball last week, and
well,
bring Travis in.
Well, in my agreement with these guys, there's certain things that I agree to, and some things they agree to. And one of the issues in agreements with the Travis Cook is he can require some airtime, whether it be at the shows. Of course, he takes a lot of that time with his interviews. But since we've been doing these updates, he's now pushing the envelopes there, saying, I need to have some airtime because you and Brian are always on there talking about me, and the fans are talking about me. I need to defend myself. And I just didn't want to be sitting here with him, and I apologize for putting you in that position. But it was either going to be you or Drew, and I'm not so sure Drew would be up to wanting to do that with Travis Cook either. So you took one for the Gipper.
Well, we did, and we got through it, and Travis, we kept him controlled. I know you got to review the footage of it and have your own opinions that I'm sure we all can keep to ourselves. But at the end of the day, we're here to talk wrestling. We talked wrestling last week. A lot of great shows coming up. It's been a busy week. You had a little trip up north yesterday. You want to tell the fans about that?
Yeah, I was invited to the ACW group up in Hannibal, Missouri. Had a card up there, so I got invited up there. Was glad I made the trip. The wife and I went, got to catch up with a couple of friends of mine, especially Dr. Tom Pritchard. Had a seminar before the show up there yesterday and a meet and greet. And, of course, the Big Red Machine, Kane, was in town, originally from Hannibal, Missouri. So it was good to catch up and just spend some time with him. Dr. Pritchard and I got to talk about the days back when he was with Paul Bosch and when he was in St. Louis working with Larry Matasek. And so I hadn't saw Tom in about almost 30 years, I guess. So it was really good to catch up with him. Of course, when we walked in and he recognized me, we hugged one another, and some of the guys up there were going to introduce me to him. Of course, I already knew him, but I want to say thanks to Patrick and Damian Blade, the whole crew up there. Mark had a great show. A lot of fans coming up, telling me they follow SICW. So SICW is known around the Midwest there pretty well.
Very true.
So I appreciate everybody up in Hannibal, Missouri that came up. Just really a great evening. It was great to take that couple-hour drive up there and get back, and got time to think about the show tonight and what we're faced coming up here in the next week or so.
Well, we definitely have a lot of good matches we're going to talk about coming up, but we do have wrestling coming up this week. Before we get into the wrestling, though, you talked a little bit about Busch Bavarian Beer being a sponsor of Wrestling at the Chase, and that continues today through one of Anheuser-Busch's distributors in Gray Eagle. So let's take a look at some information about Gray Eagle Distributing. Again, keeping that Busch name familiar with classic old-school wrestling.
A cold beverage and SICW action goes together. When you reach for that cold beverage, reach for the best. For the best, it's that Anheuser-Busch product from Gray Eagle Distributing. From the late 1950s, Anheuser-Busch was the sponsor of Wrestling at the Chase. Now Gray Eagle Distributing in Belleville, Illinois continues that history of sponsoring SICW. Remember, when you want that cold, refreshing beverage, reach for the best, that Gray Eagle product.
Well, Herb, Gray Eagle's been a great sponsor, working with you for every show monthly.
Yeah, our sales rep, Matt Brown, great individual, makes our posters for us, helps promote our events, and I can't thank Gray Eagle enough. And again, it's keeping with that rich history, the legacy of Wrestling at the Chase back when Anheuser-Busch sponsored Sam Muchnick's organization. And we are really honored to have Gray Eagle Distributing help carrying that tradition on. So thanks to all of you workers out there for Gray Eagle Distributing, and to Matt Brown for all your help that you give us each and every month.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I think it's time we talk about the upcoming wrestling. 6 days away, the pre-Halloween spectacular coming up Saturday night.
Well, I'm really excited. It's going to be a great card this coming Saturday night, October the 16th. As you said, the pre-Halloween bash at the East Brown Lake Community Center. When I put these cards together, I try to think, what is it that the fans want to see? And when I say I get a lot of feedback from the fans, I mean every week, every day, it seems like I'm getting text messages and some emails and some phone messages being left just saying, hey, why don't you put so-and-so against so-and-so? So I try to work that in. It doesn't always work out, but we try to put these matches together that's going to best make the fans happy. It doesn't make the wrestlers happy sometimes because of some personality issues, but we want to do what's best for the business and what's best for the fans. But next Saturday night, we got a main event that I think is really raising the bar once again, as we like to say, an Australian tag team match. And we're talking about two former SICW champions on the same side, Flash Flanagan and the King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz, tagging up, and they're going to be looking across that ring at the Powers of Pain, as I call them. The two big monsters, Attila Khan, and of course 444-pound Kowalski, and you've seen all four of those men, and that's going to be one we're going to have to batten down all the hatches and tighten the ring up. I told Andy Warner, I said, make sure all the bolts are tight, because when you got those four big guys in there, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're bound to have a ring full of good, hard-working athletes there, and with some of the players involved in that match, you're bound to have some extra attention maybe show up from the outside.
Well, you never know. Like we said, there's always surprises at an SICW event. When you talk about a guy like Kowalski, 444 pounds, and then, of course, the Mongolian Monster, who we've seen what he done here just a few months ago to the King of Chaos. Left him actually in the ring in a pool of blood. We ended up having to get a new canvas after that match. Probably one of the most brutal matches I've seen, and I don't mean to brag about that, but those two guys have a lot of history together. And, of course, Flash Flanagan, one of the toughest in the business. And when he comes to the ring, it's all about business. And they have no love lost for those guys, especially they know that they have a tie to Travis Cook, the TCO. And Flash is always in his mind thinking about that bounty that Travis Cook has put out there on him. So he doesn't really trust a lot of people right now, especially Travis Cook. So this coming Saturday, that main event, Ricky Cruz, the King of Chaos, and Flash Flanagan square off against the monsters of Attila Khan and Kowalski in that main event. And then, another match that I'm really looking forward to. I'm still scratching my head over the Iron Man Ken Casa.
Where does he stand? This recent trip to join the Travis Cook organization, and not to sit here and bash any particular group, but that's definitely a very dramatic shift for the former Iron Man Ken Casa.
Yeah.
Now he's changing his name, changing his gimmick, and I'm just not so sure that.
Well, he has proven himself over and over. He is at the top of the ladder. he had no reason to go to the Travis Cook organization. Somebody who despised Travis Cook, and now you're back in the group with him. But he better really bring his new look, and he better bring his new attitude, because he's going to be going against the ambassador for SICW and the Canadian hero, Sean Vincent. That's going to be a great match.
Bound to be a great match. And I hope for Sean Vincent's sake that it can be a match with only Ken Casa.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. So, I mean, just right there, just with those two matches, it's going to be a night of entertainment. But then as we go down the list here, another tag match. And I'm really looking forward to this one. We've seen these guys tag up a couple times together, but the popular Gil Rogers, I know he's a favorite of yours.
Absolutely.
Is returning to SICW next Saturday night, and he's going to be teaming up with, the new guy, the new rules guy.
Yeah, the Night Train.
The Night Train, Gary Jackson and Gil Rogers tagging up, and they're going to be going against the big masked man himself, the Big Texan, one of the biggest men in the business today, and also the Butcher himself, Damian Blade. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, we saw Damian Blade in action. I've seen a lot of tapes of him. I've been doing a lot of research on this guy, and I got to tell you, I think he's going to add a lot to the SICW locker room. And he says he's going to take no prisoners. He's coming after everybody. But next Saturday night, him and the Big Texan is going to have their chance to show Gil Rogers and Gary Jackson what they're all about. Match after match, it's going to be an all-star card without a doubt,
as it is every week.
Every show SICW,
and I say every week because it seems like every week we've got shows going here.
Seems
lately.
like they're coming more and more, and we just it's just amazing. Like I said, when I was in Hannibal last night, this weekend we were in Belleville at the big chili cook-off event. People coming up talking about SICW and the wrestling that was at the fairgrounds a few months ago. They're excited about the one that was at the Swansea Firehouse, the one that's going to be coming up there. So it seems like just the way we used to say wrestling at the Chase was a household name, SICW is becoming that quickly after all these years.
And very well deserved.
Another match for next Saturday night, the popular Billy McNeil, another one of your favorites. You like watching him fly around that ring, and Billy is a guy that can get in there, and he can hit you more times and faster than you can blink your eyes, really. And I'm a little concerned about this match. You're going to see the return of Superstar Steve Fender.
Again, another member of the Travis Cook organization.
And I've had some text messages from some fans that have seen the post that we've been putting out. Superstar Steve Fender coming back to SICW, and he's going to be in there against the popular Billy McNeil. So, man, what a match that's going to be. Both of these guys have been in the business a long, long time. And as you said, Fender seems to have the advantage there for one reason only, because he's going to have probably Travis Cook at ringside.
Absolutely. Well, Travis Cook is Fender's insurance, per se. He's got someone there to support him. And with that being said, let's take a listen to another one of our great sponsors here at SICW, and that of Al O'Relt with Allstate Insurance.
The law in Illinois requires you to have auto insurance, and Allstate is the one to have. For the best, check out our good friend to SICW, Al O'Relt from Allstate Insurance. They offer the best in coverage on home, auto, and all your other insurance needs. O'Relt Insurance has 2 convenient locations to serve you better. One in Cahokia at 414 Range Lane, and in Belleville at 1030 Carlisle Avenue. Tell Al O'Relt and his staff you heard about the great deals here on the SICW Weekly Update.
Maybe it would be good for Billy McNeil to go talk to our friend Al O'Relt, make sure all his insurance is up to date, because you never know what's going to come from the Travis Cook organization or all of the members that are probably going to show up at ringside there.
Well, that's true. And as you said, Al O'Relt, our good friend, if you need those insurance needs, he's the one you want to go see. I've sent quite a few people his way, and everybody has contacted me back and said, wow, the savings that Al Orelt has got me has allowed me to come to more of the SICW matches. So we thank you, Al Orelt, for that, for helping out those people who needed to help get that insurance at a cheaper rate.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about October 19th. You've already mentioned an all-star card, but I'm sure there's more.
All-star card, as you said, and as we move on, Keith Smith Jr. returns to the SICW ring, up-and-coming third-generation wrestler. Worked with his grandfather, Ed Smith, many, many years. He was one of the top referees at Wrestling at the Chase, refereed some of the biggest matches that ever took place there. One that comes to mind, Bruiser Brody against Ric Flair. Ed, dearly miss him, shared the microphone with him for many years at South Broadway Athletic Club. He worked for both the MMWA and SICW, and of course Keith Smith Jr., dear to my wife and I and our whole family, and his family, and of course his son Keith Jr., following in Grandpa and Dad's footsteps. He's returning Saturday night, and he's going to be going against Strangler Lewis, a young man who was actually in Hannibal Lewis last night. I got to see him again, and he's been with us a few shows. So that's going to be a great match between Keith Smith Jr. and Strangler Lewis. Sid Holland is returning, going to be going against Richard Shaw. I'm sorry, they'll be in a tag match, another tag match. I know you're a fan of tag matches.
A night full of tag matches. And this is an important tag match.
It's an important
Not that
tag
they all aren't important, but the SICW Tag Team Champions will be
I can tell you, when you have
in the house and titles on the line.
When you have the professionals, I like to say they're probably the most legit tag team combination in the Midwest. Rightly so. They're the SICW tag title holders. These guys, they think alike. They work alike. Their attitude, they sometimes cheat alike. Whether you like them or not, they are the tag team title holders, and they're going to be going against Richard Shaw and Sid Holland next Saturday night in East Grondolet. Looking forward to that, to see if the professionals can hold on to them titles or if we'll be crowning new tag title champions.
It definitely could happen.
And then last match, another one of your favorites. They like to call him, or some people like to call him, the king of SICW. Or maybe he just calls himself that, him and Travis Cook.
I think it's more of a Travis Cook organization following name.
Yeah, I think I hear more Burger King than I do
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen, Burger King, instead of King of SICW. But this one here is another great one. P.T. Beckham gets a shot at the king of SICW, the self-proclaimed king. So I'm looking forward. P.T. Beckham has been with us, came back. So he was with us before, left, traveled around a little bit, and came back to SICW, where everybody wants to come back to.
Everybody wants to return.
So he's going to get a shot against Chris Hargis. So I'm excited to see what him and P.T. Beckham brings next Saturday night to the fans of SICW.
Well, Herb, we've gone through the card. We've shown it on the screen. We've talked about it. But there's something missing. And when I talk about that something missing, I think it is the person that's on here heckling all of our followers. Quite a bit of conversation going back here between the current SICW champion, Curtis Wilde. And he is saying here Curtis Wilde will be in the house. But I don't see him on the card.
Well, I reported a couple of weeks ago, and I posted a few things on social media, some questions that were asked about the champion, SICW champion. I've left multiple messages, text messages, left voice messages. He's been, I guess, unavailable to answer them. I don't want to say he's been avoiding me. I don't want to prejudge him. But no, he isn't on the card per se, and if he's saying he's going to be there, I can't stop him from being there, but he's only got a few days to get a hold of me because you remember when we had the former champion, Ricky Cruz, the King of Chaos, on the show here a few shows back. Ricky made the statement that he felt that if Curtis won the title, he would be a paper champion, and I didn't want to believe that at the time. But when you represent SICW, the champions that we've had in the past, whether they are the Flash Flanagans, the Ricky Cruzes, the Heath Hattons, the Gary Jacksons, they've all pretty well represented the company as a champion. I never had one of them not take a phone call from me.
Well, here your champion says he expects that you will have the red carpet rolled out and he will receive the VIP treatment for the evening.
Well, I mean, words are cheap, and he's never lost for words.
Never at a loss for words. I've been surprised to watch him traveling with his championship, similar to what he did with the Bruiser Brody Memorial Cup. And while it's great to carry SICW's name all around the world as a premier organization that it is, I'm just not so sure that's the guy that needs to be carrying the name.
Well, and I'm not so sure he's doing all the traveling that he's claiming he's traveling. I mean, we all know what you can do with a little photoshopping. And I'm not prejudging him.
Yeah,
I mean, if he is doing that, that's fine. We'll take all that free publicity. But I will tell Curtis one thing, and I was going to say champion Curtis, but I'm going to use that term loosely. As I said before, you told me what he was saying there. I've never had a problem with one of our champions, one of our fans' champions, returning a call to discuss business. But if he thinks that I'm going to play phone tag with him, he's sadly mistaken.
I honestly think he's scared. Look at what he did at the Swansea Firehouse back in September. He ran away from a match when the title wasn't even on the line because he wasn't champion enough to stand up there and wrestle.
Well, like I said, he's got a few days to call me. This week is busy, of course, and then in the evening time I work on the shows. So I expect if he's interested and still continuing to be on our shows, he needs to call me.
Absolutely.
That phone rings both ways, Curtis. And if he shows up next Saturday night, I hope he's got some money in his pocket because he's probably going to have to buy a ticket.
Yeah. Well, we talk about traveling all around the world, and when you do travel and find a new place, you got to find a new place to live. So let's listen to one of our sponsors here from Keller Williams Realty.
Barry Schulhofer grew up in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, where he learned the importance of God, country, family, and the outdoors. Barry served almost 23 years in the U.S. Air Force, so he understands the unique lifestyle and challenges of being a military family, and is particularly qualified to assist military families in finding their new home. Licensed in both Illinois and Missouri, Barry loves the outdoors and has experience in land and farm sales. Barry Schulhofer is a realtor with the Keller Williams Marquee Realty and is a member of the Keller Williams Land Network. Barry is ready to help you turn your dream of land, home, or farm ownership into reality. For all your property sales and purchasing needs, contact Barry at area code 618-407-1764.
Well, Herb, Barry Schulhofer, Keller Williams Marquee Realty. He's been a friend of first responders, a friend of the military, as a past military man himself. He was a great sponsor for the Special Services Wrestling show, and he is signed on as a sponsor for the next show we're going to talk about here.
Well, and, we're going to get through this coming Saturday, October the 16th, with this great card that we just gave you a lineup, but we are really in a lot of buzz, a lot of talking going about November the 2nd when we move back to the Swansea Firehouse, Swansea Fire Department, and what a card night we've got there. Of course, not only do we have the return of WWE legend J.J. Dillon, the gentleman who put the Four Horsemen together years ago. J.J. was there last year. Overwhelming response. It's coming back, but he's bringing a couple of friends with him this time, and we're talking about the enforcer, Iron Anderson. Yes, the enforcer of the